starts by taking people where they're at. I think that's one of the strengths of the Marist spiritual approach, is that it takes people wherever they are and doesn't try to drag them kicking and screaming somewhere else. It's an accepting in the first place. It's about building a relationship. It's about trying to understand a person's worldview and respecting it. It's like, I suppose, a mother with a child. She doesn't berate the child because at the age of whatever it can't walk or it can't look after itself in some way. She sort of accepts and she encourages gently, but she loves the child and she cares for the child either way. And she takes it at his or her own pace. And I think that's part of what the Marist spirituality in the workplace for me is about in the first place taking people from where they're at and going at their pace. And through the medium of a relationship, letting a person come in touch with themselves and in touch with what they want for their life.
You know, we've been through a rather glorious epoch of the church in Ireland, glorious in inverted commas, you know. We're now in a different time. And that different time is a modern variety of the post-revolutionary time in France in which the society was born. Just keep your profile down a bit and just be for people where they are and just where they're at. And like that in school too. Take the boys and girls the way they are, not the way they aren't.
I found it very difficult to be in the Catholic Church, although I do believe in the Catholic Church. And as a single woman who have no children, the Catholic Church, I was on the bottom rung. And maybe even, I once said, lower than that. And so I had to find a place for myself. And I've been trying and searching to find a place for myself. And I believe I found it with the Marists.
I think the Marist gift is gentleness. It's not dictating ways of behaving. It's taking people as they are. And I think that really makes a difference.
I suppose the feminine thing is big for me, like that we are called, if you like, to think, judge and act like Mary did. And like personally, I don't have a big devotion to Mary at all, but I love that idea of the feminine, and that perhaps the church and religious orders have been very macho and very masculine, and Christianity has been a very muscular Christianity. And that's not actually what's needed for our time. And our founder, even 200 years ago, because it was just after the French Revolution when some people in France really hated the church for what it had stood for and stood with, because it had stood with the kings and with the old regime, that he said, listen, you know, let's not be a block to people meeting God. Let's try to help people meet God in a much more gentle way. Don't force it down their throats. Present it to them, or give it to them in a way that people can, if you like, hear it. And so for me, I suppose that's one of the big things, that to present Christianity not as something you must do, or if you don't do, it's going to be terrible, but just here's something you could add into your life that'll enrich your life. You know, here's a possibility, here's an opportunity, here's, you know, something to look at that might actually enrich who you are and how you go through your life. So that whole gentle, sort of feminine way.
If I was to put it in a nutshell, I'd say possibly in that it was a way of living rather than a philosophy.
And I think the greatest message that Marists have is, you know, the time to contemplate, and we're losing it. In Dundalk, I wanted them to build a Postinia where you would have 2 or 3 rooms where people could go for a night, a day, just to be alone, just to have time to think and not to worry about what's going on outside. And we don't have that anymore, you know. So I think that was an important message to come from the Marist. Take time to think, take time to pray. And certainly the idea of being, you know, of mercy being freely given. The idea that I do not have to go to seek mercy, that mercy is there waiting for me.
The founder said, if you can't save them with the law, save them without it. And I love it.